Have you ever tried to describe a moment in English, but didn't know how to say what you truly felt? That's because English isn't just grammar or vocabulary. It's rhythm, tone, and emotion. That's why learning through stories helps you speak more naturally. At LingPath, we help you build your English through real moments and meaningful experiences. If you enjoy this way of learning, like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to LingPath. It was just after sunset when Armin climbed the narrow stairs to the rooftop. The last of the light was slipping away behind the western skyline. The buildings across the street were still touched with a soft orange glow, but the sky above had already begun to fade into deep blue. Armin pushed open the metal door and stepped out. The rooftop wasn't fancy. There was an old water tank in one corner, a few chairs that didn't match, and some potted plants his uncle had placed there years ago. But for Armin, it was one of the most peaceful places in the city. He placed his notebook on a plastic table, took off his shoes, and sat cross-legged on a mat. The breeze was gentle, and the air still held a little heat from the day. Somewhere below, a car honked. A child shouted. Music drifted from a window across the alley. Armin closed his eyes and listened. He wasn't trying to escape the city, he just wanted to hear it from a different angle. When he opened his eyes again, the sky had darkened. The first stars appeared above the distant hills. And slowly, the sounds of the street softened. The call to prayer echoed faintly across rooftops. A cat jumped onto a wall, stared at him for a second, and continued on. Armin smiled. He took out a pen and began to write. But not a story. Just thoughts. Some nights feel too big for words, he wrote. But I still try. He looked around. From the rooftop, he could see dozens of other buildings, some with lights on, some dark. A few rooftops had people on them too, drinking tea, hanging laundry, making quiet phone calls. Everyone was living their own small stories. He liked that. An hour passed. The stars became brighter. The air turned cooler. Armin wrapped a sweater around his shoulders and lay down on the mat, arms folded under his head. He stared at the sky. A plane passed overhead, silent but blinking. He remembered being a child, pointing at planes and wondering where they were going. Paris? Tokyo? Cape Town? Now he knew that many planes just flew over without stopping. Still, the idea of flying above the world felt magical. A voice from the building next door called out something in Persian, someone joking, someone laughing in reply. Armin didn't know them. But he smiled again. These city sounds weren't noise to him. They were a kind of music. He sat up and poured himself a cup of tea from a small thermos. The steam rose into the night air. Suddenly, the power went out. The lights across several buildings blinked off. The street lamps too. For a moment, everything stopped. Then the city took a breath. And in that silence, the sky exploded with stars. Without the light pollution, the sky looked deeper, more alive. Armin gasped. He hadn't seen the stars like this in years. He stood up, walked to the edge of the roof, and looked up. The moon was low, and the stars stretched from one edge of the sky to the other. He thought, how many people are looking at this same sky right now? Millions? Or maybe just a few quiet souls like me. He stayed like that for a long time. When the power returned, it almost felt like a disappointment. The streetlights blinked on. The city exhaled. A motorbike roared down the alley. Someone turned up the volume of their TV. But Armin didn't mind. He'd had his moment. He returned to his mat, picked up his pen, and wrote. Sometimes, the sky waits for the noise to end before it speaks. He closed the notebook. Before going downstairs, he took one last look at the horizon. The city was awake again. But the memory of that quiet sky was still with him. In this story, you heard natural phrases like the sky had darkened. From a different angle, living their own small stories, the city took a breath, and without the light pollution. You also saw how to describe a calm moment, physical sensations, and emotional reflection in everyday English. We share new stories like this every day to help you learn English with feeling, clarity, and confidence. Like the video, subscribe to LingPath, and tell us in the comments, where do you go when you need a quiet moment? See you in the next video.